shine a little light. I know change may not come today, but it'll be worth the wait. I'm willing, so willing. I've been out on a limb today. Now I feel like I'm finding my way. Been riding around on a one-way street, but I realized I didn't know I was in the driver's seat. So I'm willing to change my life, willing to shine a little light. It may not happen today, but it will be worth the wait. I've been spending some time alone. I feel way out of my comfort zone. If I do just what I've already done, change will never come. I'm willing to change my life, willing to shine a little light. I know change may not come today, but it'll be worth the wait. Life is my teacher, time is my friend. I'm gonna follow with my heart right till the end. Now I'm gonna road without a stop sign. So what that means, the farther I go, the lighter my load. Change my life, willing to shine a little light. I know it might not happen today, but it'll be worth the wait. I'm willing, how about you? I'm willing, what we're gonna do. I'm willing to change my life. I'm willing.
Please join me in prayer. There is one perfect life that becomes what it loves and makes things out of itself. That life is perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance. And as we are made in the image of this power, this greatness, by divine inheritance, we are perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance. All that God is, each and every one of us is in unique, individualized expression. We give thanks for the opportunity to come together, to look at our access to the divine power we have, to celebrate the fact that it is by going within and spreading our light, our joy, our essence out into the world to make it a better place. We have that choice. We have access to that unlimited source that moves things through prayer, through conscientious action, and through togetherness and recognition of our oneness. We know that everything that takes place here in this celebration will be absolutely perfect, and we are grateful for all who come together to make this service possible. I give thanks for every beautiful expression of the divine in this space today, for everyone within the sound of my voice, and for all of the people here in Aurora, in the state of Colorado, in the United States, on planet Earth, and in this magnificent universe, knowing that each and every one is tied together. We are all connected. We are all one. And release these words into divine law where they're already done in the universal mind. I let this go. I let it be. Together we affirm, and so it is. Our book of the month is The Four Pivots, written by a young man named Sean Ginwright. And I've got a couple of inspirational quotes from him. The first says that healing is the capacity to restore our humanity and care for ourselves and others, even in the midst of fear. Our second quote from Sean: mirrors, if you hire a good one, for the most part, tell the truth and reflect back the hardcore reality that you've been hiding from. From our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes: there is no obstruction one cannot dissipate by the power of truth. So we learn to go deeply within ourselves and speak as though there is a presence there that knows. It is most worthwhile to commune with spirit, to sense and to feel it.
Hi, New Dawn. Oh my gosh, it's a new day at New Dawn, and it's the best day yet. What a joy to be with you, and thank you, Mickey, and thank you, Russ, and thank you, Karen, and Travis, and Nancy, and thank you, and Dennis, and everyone who participated in the hearts and the hands that pull this service together today and always. We are so grateful, and it takes many hands and many hearts. And before we jump in here, I did want to underscore what Mickey shared, that Rick and I will be offering our first workshop on the September 21st. What a great way to celebrate the fall equinox, when we have equal parts day and night. So come with us. I'll be looking at the internal piece, if you will, and using the labyrinth as a spiritual tool. If you're not as familiar with the labyrinth as you would like, I happen to be a certified labyrinth facilitator and can overshare as much as you might want to know. So we're gonna take just a little bit of time to talk about the labyrinth, and then Rick is going to invite you into a short watercolor exercise. No previous art experience necessary. You will all leave with your personalized version of a labyrinth that you can take for your own altar. You can use as a finger labyrinth, whatever you would like. So as was suggested, there's a sign-up sheet on the table. We would love to have you join us. It's $29 at the door, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, if not before. And yes, the four pivots, oh my gosh. The first I became aware of Sean Ginwright was when he was named the Spiritual Hero of the Year by Centers for Spiritual Living and Science and Mind magazine for 2023. And his book is really extraordinary. And it's all about pivoting. Many of us know that well, and we've had that experience in our own lives. When something isn't working or when we'd like more of something, we pivot, we shift, we do something different. We've all heard the definition of insanity being doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So we know, as mature metaphysicians, if something isn't working, we do something different, we pivot to something else if we're anticipating a different outcome. So yeah, we're looking at the four pivots. reimagining justice and reimagining ourselves. And I really appreciate the way that Dr. Sean positions this work, in that, it's as simple, in parentheses, and as difficult as making 4 changes in our lives, right? So we're going to spend a week talking about each one of his chapters, each one of the proposed changes that can change our lives. And when we do that, what do we know? When we change ourselves, we change our communities, we change our world, and we raise the vibration on the planet, right? We're not making anybody wrong or bad. We're coming from that place of knowing that we're whole, perfect, and complete right now. And by making slight adjustments, I can be a different kind of whole, perfect, and complete tomorrow. So that is our charge. That is what we're stepping into. So this week, then, Sean invites us into the shift from lens to mirror. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What is he talking about? He says that, let me make sure I get it just right. When we shift from lens to mirror, we stop blaming the world and begin asking, what is the world showing me about myself? So there's some really beautifully nuanced language in there. He's not making anybody wrong. He's not asking us to make ourselves wrong. We're not asked to be hoist upon our own petard, as the saying goes. He is simply saying, what is the world showing me about myself? My shorthand, my David language for that is, what else might be true? If I take a moment and I take that step back, and it's like, this is happening and this is really interesting and I really don't like it. So what else might be true about it? Why am I connected to this experience in any way? So he is suggesting that perception shapes our experience. You've heard me speak of my time in Up With People a fair amount. You've also heard me quote the words from the song Moonrider about astronaut Eugene Cernan, the last man to walk on the moon, when he was looking back at the Earth. And one of the most poignant lines in that song from his verbiage, from his interviews, is, isn't it the way we perceive things that makes them what they will be? Putting a little more context on that, as metaphysicians then, when we step into that, what we know is everything is just energy and information. Everything just is, until we choose to overlay our perception on it. Oh, that's good. Oh, that stinks. Oh, I love that. Oh, I never want to experience that again. It's all just there until I label it. Have you ever had that experience, maybe about a movie or a television series or a book, when you're talking with somebody and you absolutely loved it, and they're like, what planet were you on? I thought that was horrible. I wouldn't inflict that on anybody, or vice versa, right? Somebody is going on and on and on about this new TV show, the latest, greatest on Netflix, or the latest incarnation, and you're like, I kind of thought it was a waste of time. Well, there's no good or bad in there, my friends. That is just our perception. That is our overlay. So what Sean is suggesting then is, when we find ourselves in any of those kinds of situations, take that step back, take that momentary pause, and ask ourselves, what is the universe trying to show me? What else might be true? That is how we continue to step into our magnificence, which I love is a part of our affirmation every week. when I get to consciously think about it, when I get to explore it, when I get to co-create what that experience looks like and feels like with the divine, that is growth, right? That is what we're stepping into. Our boy Ernie, Ernest Holmes says, life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it. Again, seed, soil, plant, conscious, subconscious, unconscious, right? What we think, what we put out is what returns to us. When we see through a lens, our biases, our hurts, our fears, the world looks distorted. And when we see through a mirror, life becomes an opportunity to notice, what is this experience showing me about who I am? I don't know if there are any Broadway musical fans here. Yay! This is a big anniversary for A Chorus Line, the musical. I don't remember exactly what it is, 50th, 60th, right? One singular sensation. Yeah, we'll get together. But I especially found, or continue to find moving, when Cassie is on stage by herself and she starts to do her solo, and she does this extraordinary dance solo, taking up the entire stage as one relatively petite dancer. Her energy is so big and so magnificent and so polished. And then the mirrors drop down all around her, right? And the lyric in the song says, all I ever needed was the music and the mirror and the chance to dance. So what if that's all you need? What if all you need is the music, whatever your music, literal or metaphorical, and the mirror, and the chance to let your light shine, the chance to step into your greatness and your magnificence. Now, to be clear, it's not always easy. We know that. Sometimes the mirror shows things we don't want to see, and that is our growth opportunity. That is what we get to choose to look at and work through. The second thing Dr. Sean invites us into is responsibility without shame. I can own it, I can be a part of it, and I don't have to feel crummy in the meantime, right? The other thing that we know as metaphysicians is guilt is not a helpful emotion. So we can choose to feel guilty about it, or we can take responsibility and say, okay, now what? I get to accept it, I get to try to change it, I get to move on from it, right? We always have choices. So don't mistake pivot for blame. When he's suggesting responsibility without shame, there's no blame in there. It's not about beating ourselves up. It's not about flogging or woe is me, but it's about curiosity once again. What is Spirit inviting me into? What is mine to learn? How am I to grow and expand from this experience? Brene Brown, love me some Brene, she puts it this way: vulnerability is the birthplace of connection and the path to the feeling of worthiness. To me, that feels counterintuitive, right? That when we make ourselves vulnerable, that will help us on our path to feeling more worthy. So when I open myself up, yeah, there's some great things that can happen, and there could be some interesting things that can happen, and that will aid me in my walk toward being worthy of all that the universe has in store for me, right? I can only receive what I can perceive. So when I buy lotto tickets, if I say, oh my gosh, it would be awesome if I could win $1,000. Well, my friends, the jackpot is $1.4 billion. Why would I limit my own good? It's not being greedy, it's simply understanding the laws of the universe And so let us open ourselves up to all that we know to be in our highest and best, and this or something better. Yeah? So maybe it's a part of my human experience, and maybe it is not. So, yeah, so responsibility without shame. Last semester when I was teaching at Metro, we had a snow day, and 4 of my students and myself didn't get the memo. So we're sitting, we're sitting in the classroom, and it's just the 4 of us, and we're having this great conversation for a little over an hour. And this was before the last presidential election. And these young people are sharing their thoughts and their dreams and their ideas and their desires and their fears. And they're all so spot on. I just got to sit there and listen. And this one young man still lives in my heart. Ubaldo thought he did everything right. He was born to immigrant parents in the U.S. He was too old for this deadline and too young for that program, and he filled out all the forms, and he showed up in all the places, and he paid all the fees, and he did everything that he was supposed to do. And he looked at me, and he said, "Professor, I'm scared to death. I'm going to be deported to a country I never lived in." So this young man is wise beyond his years. He's taking responsibility for his situation, and yet there's no shame in admitting your fear, right? There's no shame in wanting something different and acknowledging that my human self doesn't know what to do in this circumstance. So that, for me, was an extraordinary example of responsibility without shame. He didn't do anything wrong, and he was being made the other, and he was being made wrong. So the third thing that Dr. Sean invites us into is seeing ourselves as whole. That's one of the many things that I think we do really well in religious science, is we acknowledge the wholeness, the completeness, the perfection of each being as a glorious expression of the divine, especially those that show up in interesting ways and think differently than I do, right? So we see everyone as whole, perfect, and complete. And the other thing that we know is when we look at the world through mirror and not lens, it doesn't just show the flaws, it shows the beauty. So I'm reminded of my oldest nephew. His wife made her transition unexpectedly 6 years ago on Cinco de Mayo, a traditional holiday in the Goldberg tradition, and left him to raise 4 daughters by himself, aged 6 to 16. And we, somewhere in there, before the younger 2 were born, we took a family vacation to Disney World. And it was my 2 great nieces who were wandering all around. And unbeknownst to Uncle Dave, they had appointments at the Bippity Boppity Boutique, which is the beauty salon for little ones, right? So my 2 great nieces get in there, and they're sitting in the chair, and these Disney folks know they're lovely, and they know exactly what they're doing. Well, hi, princess, what kind of hairdo do you want? And would you like nails? And you need a costume, and do you have gloves and a tiara to go with your costume? And the dollar signs are like rolling and rolling and rolling. And my 2 little nieces walked out of there dressed as their favorite princesses, and they were completely different personas because somebody believed in them and somebody told them that they were princesses and they could be princesses. And I still remember my oldest, Emma, we're standing there watching the fireworks at 10 or 11 o'clock. You know, anything past 9, I'm toast anyway. So we were watching the fireworks, and before the fireworks, she does this little turn, and she doesn't know anybody's watching her, and she says, "This is the best day of my life." And isn't that something every parent and every grandparent and every great-grandparent wants to hear? And I'm like, okay, we'll come back and do it again tomorrow. So that was seeing ourselves as whole. And I think in general, Disney has taken some hits, and rightfully so, for any number of things. And I think they still do some things well. I think their expression of how people show up, whether it's the story of Cinderella, right? And she's not dressed, and she's not treated well, and she's dirty, and for whatever reason, the prince still falls in love with her. Or Snow White, she's sleeping, for goodness sake, and she still manages to find her path and find her way. And of late, they're doing better in the diversity department with Beauty and the Beast, with the princess falling in love with a beast. And she can see beyond that, recognizing his kind heart and his bruised heart, and both of them growing into their wholeness together. Bell Hooks, another prophet whom I adore, wrote, "Rarely, if ever, are any of us healed in isolation. Healing is an act of communion." And thank you, sweet Mickey, for allowing us to support you in your physical healing. That is what we do. We love, we come together, we pray, we each take our piece and do it with humility and great love. And what a wonderful community it is. So when I look in the mirror spiritually, I not only see myself, I see my connection to each and every being. So I have that connection with each and every individual. I have that connection with all of life. And in that connection, we know that what we see is wholeness. Forgive me, I'm going to get this figured out here eventually. And so what that means for us here at New Dawn, then, is we live our faith through lifting our eyes from fear to possibility. In the dance world, when I first started learning dances as a very clunky 17-year-old and up with people, I was looking at my feet a lot. And our choreographer, who used to be one of Dean Martin's Gold Digger girls, I'm dating myself, but Lynn was and is such a powerful force. And she would tell me, and she would tell all of us, don't look at your feet. Your feet know what they're doing. Look up and trust what you've learned. And that's exactly what we do. We are raising our eyes. We are looking up. We are meeting people where they are because we trust what we know. We trust what we have learned and what it continues to be ours to explore. At New Dawn, we also live our faith through reflecting inward before reacting outward. That gives us the opportunity perhaps to respond from a place of thoughtfulness rather than reacting from a place of emotion. And we dance with Spirit as our partner in all things. Before, during, and after. I love the way that prayer permeates this community. I love the way that our beloved practitioners support this community in so many ways, known and unknown. And that is who we are. And that is what we do. And that is how we live our faith and treat and move our feet. If you would please join me in prayer. If our practitioners would please stand and join me in consciousness. Spirit of life, today we lift our eyes. We trust the rhythm of love that guides our steps. May we see the mirror clearly, not as a source of shame, but as a gift of growth. Let us walk in grace, reflect love, dance in harmony with the divine, presence that is our life. So we just continue to move with grace, with ease, allowing ourselves to be in that flow, recognizing that everything we need, we want, we desire is downstream. So we simply allow ourselves to be in that space to get there in perfect time, with grace, with joy, in peace, and most of all, with tremendous love. And on this day, I give thanks for all who serve in that role of grandparent, great-grandparent, great-great-grandparent, officially or unofficially, named or unnamed. It is that space of love that continues to offer the peace, the prosperity, the expansion that we all seek. And I just find myself in a place of tremendous gratitude. I say thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. I release, I let go, I allow it to be. And together we say, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are.
Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Bring it on, it's gonna be everything new. Do you remember September when we were young and getting ready for school? Ready to learn and have some fun. And we all knew a new beginning had begun. Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for the next thing to do. Bring it on, gonna be everything new. Keep your eyes on the rising sun. Have faith, a new dawn will come. See yourself clearly in the mirror. We're so glad we're all together here. Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for the next thing to do. Bring it on, gonna be everything new. We've all been here before, isn't that right? Sometimes you feel like you're in front of a closing door, but we made it back then. We're gonna rise up and shine again. Wanna sing with me? Bring it on, everything new, everything different, good, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Bring it on, everything new. Sing that last line again. I am ready for the next thing to do. Bring it on, everything new. Yeah, bring it on. Ooh, everything with style and love and possibility. And thank you, Dr. David, for bringing this to us today. New